What's going on, everyone? So Gabe Vincent is starting to progress in the right direction. There were reports that he may return as soon as next week. And then we got reports earlier today that Gabe Vincent is cleared for non-contact. Obviously, that's the beginning. He can start ramping up on court, doing various drills, even practices, things like that. And then you'll see the contact, and then you'll see him return. So hopefully, Gabe Vincent will return sooner rather than later. The Lakers could use him as a point of attack defensive player, as a kind of 3-and-D style guard, start getting and trickling in our defensive pieces, because that's kind of been one of our biggest problems. Offensively, we've been great, but defensively, we've really struggled in that regard to get stops, and Gabe Vincent is a guy that can help in that department. Obviously, it'll probably take him a little time to get his legs under him, get his timing down, just get the ins and outs on both sides of the basketball, really, before he starts making the push that we need. And I know a lot of people are kind of on the fence just from the previous report. You know, I got a lot of comments that people were they're kind of over Gabe Vincent right now. Now, obviously, production can change that, right? Like, it's the thought of like, hey, we haven't had him all year. And then on top of that, when we did have him for the 5 games, he wasn't very good. So I do understand many people's kind of reservations. There was a lot of hype and excitement when we signed him, and then that kind of trickled away as we didn't get to see him pretty much all season on the court. But he comes back in. If he plays a solid role, he makes a real impact on both sides of the basketball. I have all the confidence that people will start like, hey, I'm glad he's back. But it's up to Gabe Vincent. Obviously, if he's not and he falls out of the rotation or he becomes a liability or something, then yes, we're all going to be like, hey, this guy needs to stop playing this year and maybe he'll be better next year type thing. So we'll see, right, as far as that goes. But the big question is, what is his role going to be on this team, right? Gabe Vincent, he's not a real playmaking style point guard. He is a guy that can make the occasional play. He's more of an initiator, like you even saw in Miami, right? He would kind of initiate the offense. Jimmy Butler would kind of be the one making the plays. Gabe Vincent would kind of be the guy that's at the three-point line, kind of that, again, 3-and-D style guard. So him playing alongside LeBron James, him playing alongside of D'Angelo Russell, Spencer Dinwiddie, Austin Reeves, that's kind of what the role, and one of the reasons why I liked the idea of Gabe Vincent. Now, obviously, Dennis Schroeder, right? He's the guy that many people wanted to keep around. Many people were disappointed in Gabe Vincent over Dennis Schroeder. Now, they both have kind of their pros and cons. My thing with these two is Dennis Schroeder, his upside is better, right? When Dennis Schroeder is on, that dude is he's incredible at times. But he can be very inconsistent. There's times where he completely disappears. He's not a great playmaker either. Again, a guy that can initiate. Yeah, he's really good in the pick and roll. But outside of that, he's not a guy that's just making things develop. But also with LeBron, D'Angelo Russell, and all these various guys, like, you don't necessarily need that. You kind of need what Gabe Vincent provides. Like, to me, when the Lakers signed Gabe Vincent, I was like, okay, you'll get a little more consistency. Right? The upside isn't as high, but you know game in and game out kind of what you're going to get with Gabe Vincent. Well, I mean, now with the injury, we don't know, but based on what we saw last year, and then we also know in the playoffs, this is a guy that really elevates and picks it up. So that was another thing that was like, okay, that could be really good. And again, playing alongside LeBron, my guess is Gabe Vincent plays a lot off ball. And those are the kind of guards that have had success alongside LeBron James over the years. You know, Avery Bradley, he played alongside LeBron. He also played alongside Rajon Rondo. You look at guys like George Hill, right? Mario Chalmers, Norris Cole, like these guys that are really just kind of 3-and-D style point guards. Thing is, Darvin Ham really loves these types of players. Right? Really loves these kind of point of attack guards. If you can play heavy defense, then, you know, he's going to play them pretty heavily. And I do have a concern in that regard of how much play time and how heavy does he lean on Gabe Vincent. Now, if Gabe Vincent is out there and he's torching folks and he's locking down defensively and he's doing what he needs to do on both sides of the basketball, making a real impact, then fine, I'm not going to complain about it. But my concern, Gabe Vincent returns, and he's getting heavy minutes over players that should be playing more, right? Like, or he's going with the 3, 4, 5 card lineups, which that could be absolutely terrifying and not in a good way. Because he's got to find minutes now for, obviously, D'Lo and Reeves, Spencer Dinwiddie, and now Gabe Vincent. He still has his baby daddy, Taurean Prince, that he needs to plug in and play. And it's one of those things where it's like, are we going to see units where, like, maybe Prince is at the 4, you have Dinwiddie at the 3, Vincent at the 2, and D'Lo at the 1 with, like, AD. I'm not super sold on that. Maybe certain matchups, sure. But most matchups, right, you're going to want a nice little balance. Where to me, I like the 4-guard rotation, especially if you can kind of keep guys' minutes down and have these different looks, right? You have a Austin Reeves and a D'Angelo Russell that are starting, right? Okay, well, that gives you the offensive production, the shooting, right? You can kind of gain a lead, and then now you could put in your defensive unit to maintain, kind of trickle in some offense with that, kind of have a nice balanced attack the rest of the way, and then find the pieces that are working the best that game to kind of close with, right? So, for example, you have Reeves and D'Lo, they're out there gaining and building a lead. Then you insert a Spencer Dinwiddie and a Gabe Vincent, and you have those two kind of operate and do what they need to do as the point of attack on the defense side of things. Both of them can still make plays. Both of them can still score. Maybe you have a Jared Vanderbilt or a Cam Reddish, or maybe you could even go with Taurean Prince off of a bench in a bench role. And then, kind of have like a Christian Wood and a Jackson Hayes. Again, assuming all players are healthy, but even momentarily, while everyone isn't healthy, you could go with Dinwiddie, Gabe Vincent, maybe go with the Prince, Jackson Hayes, and maybe trickle in like an Anthony Davis and kind of go big with like, the Taurean Prince at 6'7", at 3, Vincent and Spencer Dinwiddie as like your point of attacks. You could even run sets where maybe Dinwiddie is at the 3, although I really don't like how Darvin Ham uses Dinwiddie, but it's a conversation for another day. I've expressed that heavily enough. But like you could go with like maybe Dinwiddie at the 3, Vincent at the 2, D'Lo at the point, right? Now you got kind of like those 2 defensive guys. You got D'Lo for shooting. Get my point? It's like you can kind of trickle in guys. I just have concerns Darvin Ham makes the right rotation and adjustments, right? I've talked about this before. Darvin Ham doesn't do a good job with structured rotations. Doesn't have a very good understanding of like balance. It's like this or that, rather than like, okay, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. You need to have that proper balance. But you look at the other 3 guards, right? To me, ideally, Gabe Vincent fits and makes sense alongside all 3 of our other guards. Now, D'Lo is our best playmaker. D'Lo has been fantastic this year. To put a Gabe Vincent alongside a D'Lo, I think can go a long way, because now you got that point of attack. You got that defense. You also got a guy that could spot up and knock down the 3. Ideally, he was terrible the 5 games. It's like 3 of 15 or something like that from 3-point range so far this season. But if he figures it out and turns it around, the idea is like, okay, now you have that complementary defensive piece alongside a D'Angelo Russell. Spencer Dinwiddie's another guy that can make plays and play both sides of the basketball. Add some athleticism, give you a little bit of a point of attack. Adding in a Gabe Vincent alongside that just gives you another kind of frontline defense that can, be a point of attack and really go after it in the backcourt. That would be great to kind of have, again, that sort of balance if you give Spencer Dinwiddie the basketball and let him operate as a secondary point guard, which Darvin Ham hasn't done yet, and it's incredibly frustrating. Austin Reeves alongside Gabe Vincent, that I'm not super excited on. To me, you got to have LeBron James in that lineup, because Austin Reeves has not been great as a playmaker. Again, he can make plays, but he's usually kind of the secondary guy, right? He's keeping the ball pushing, right? He's making the occasional pick and roll play, throwing the occasional lob, finding the open man or cutter, but he's not the guy that's developing the plays like a D'Lo, like a LeBron. But if you have, say, LeBron out there with like Gabe Vincent, Austin Reeves, and then, maybe like right now, like a Cam Reddish, and then like an Anthony Davis, again, assuming Gabe Vincent can knock down the 3 ball, Well, then now you have Gabe Vincent and Austin Reeves kind of as the initiators, but the offense is kind of running through LeBron as the playmaker. And now you have that kind of balance. And then you have Reeves and Gabe Vincent both as complementary three-point shooters. You got Gabe Vincent as a point of attack guy alongside these guys. So I think you can kind of have these different mixes and matches with Gabe Vincent, D'Angelo Russell, Gabe Vincent, Austin Reeves, Gabe Vincent, Spencer Dinwiddie. And then you kind of put the complementary pieces around it. So I do think Gabe Vincent can get significant minutes, right? I don't want him necessarily playing 30-plus minutes, but 20 to 25 minutes I think is fine, right? Like, I know some people really want Max Christie to get a heavy role, but to me, if Gabe Vincent can get back to being Gabe Vincent that we know, you got to play Gabe over Max Christie. It's nothing against Max Christie. I am super high on Max Christie. I am so high on Max Christie that many people think I'm delusional in that regard. But he's 20. He just turned 21, right? He's a kid. Like, how much can we rely on him? You see when he gets extended minutes at times, that youth and lack of experience really shows, where we're making a push to try to get the 6th seed, and when we get into the postseason, we're trying to win the Larry O'Brien, right? We're trying to win an NBA championship. So to me, Gabe Vincent, he has the experience. He was a starting point guard on a championship, or not championship, but finals Miami Heat team, right? So to me, I would trust Gabe Vincent more in the big moments. He's not a guy that sinks or is afraid. He can also defend. He's not as big, obviously, as Max Christie, but I just think you move him into that role. I would even play Vincent over Cam Reddish at times. Obviously, it depends on the matchup. It depends on who's torching the Lakers, right? If you need that size, right, and length, then yeah, you got to go with Cam Reddish. But I think most nights, most teams have like that guard that you could put Vincent on and kind of have that nice balanced attack. So to me, I do and think that you give Gabe Vincent somewhere around 20 to maybe 25 minutes. He was averaging 25 minutes in the 5 games he played. So something like that I think is fine. And you kind of are trickle in guys, kind of keep all your guards maybe outside of D'Lo, but keep everyone around like, 25 to 30 minutes of action by like trickling things in. Darvin Ham, he's going to run the 3-guard lineups. I don't mind the 3-guard lineups. Obviously, it depends on like who's on the court on the other side of things, right? Like if you're playing Denver and they have like their starting 5 running 3-guard lineups, you're going to get torched. But they do have times where they run, they'll run like Aaron Gordon at the 5 and then have like, a Murray, a KCP, and a Brown out there. If you're going up against Denver and they're doing that, then I don't mind like a Gabe Vincent, maybe D'Lo and Spencer Dinwiddie, right? And now you're kind of matching that. You got decent size. You got, a 6'6" Spencer Dinwiddie. You got, 6'4", 6'5" D'Lo. You got 6'3" Gabe Vincent, right? You could kind of match that. Also, there's a big difference between last year's 3-guard lineups where you basically don't have none of your guards can shoot, right? And this year's 3-guard lineups where like D'Lo is shooting like nearly 43% from 3. Austin Reeves is starting to come around. He's been shooting 40% from 3 lately. Spencer Dinwiddie, if he can come around, or Gabe Vincent, right? If Gabe Vincent kind of get back to being that 38% 3-point shooter, right? We've seen some success in lineups where like D'Lo, Prince, and Reeves are all on the court, right? I know Prince is like 6'7", but 6'6", 6'7", but still like, he's more of like closer to a 2-guard than he is a legit 3-and-D small forward. So it can have success. It just depends on what you're putting out there. But I do think that there is a real role and a real need for Gabe Vincent, right? And to me, it's the committee. It's putting everything in line together, right? It's all the complementary pieces matching up, and then you're making that push. But we'll see. Time will tell. But I do think that there is a chance for a significant role for Spencer Dinwiddie. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? Do you agree? Do you disagree? What are your thoughts on Gabe Vincent returning? Do you think that he should have a big role? Do you think no? You got to keep his role small. Again, whatever your thoughts are, I would love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. Lets me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.